tip number 3. Be aware of the camera eye. What is the camera eye? What do I mean by that? Well, the camera eye is basically encompassing the scene your camera is capturing. So it includes you, it can include the background, it does include the background, objects, other people, it include a building, nature, lighting, shadows, everything that's in there, everything behind me right now is in the camera eye. And you notice that my head comes down right about here. I'm doing that on purpose because I could start off like this and you guys would get tired of me looking at me like that. So I have this purposely set in frame like this. So being aware of the camera eye is really important. And remember when I talked about the iPhones, I'll get to that in just a second. Look at the composition of this photo to your right. It's an iStock photo that we purchased for Walden University to use in our PowerPoints. And I really like the composition of this one because that gray steel bar goes right down the middle and cuts that photo in half. And the woman is on the other side. And if she was filming a video, you could move from one side and talk and then move to the other side and talk. So it's a really interesting way of thinking about things, to think about the way this frame is set up. If you are filming another person or filming yourself, being aware of the camera eye and what you're capturing is really important. Let's talk about being on camera and different advice I have for being in the scene and in the frame. Use, like I said, the front-facing portion of your camera. This way, you can see yourself in the camera. That's really messed up. But you can see yourself when you're going like this, and you can tell whether your head is right here or whether you are looking like this or whether you're looking like this. You can see that because you're looking directly at the camera. Like I said, the rear view is for if you are filming a building, an object, another human being. Perhaps you are a scholar of social change and you are interviewing at a hospital. You would want to use that rear facing so you can see it, and it gets way better pictures anyways. But when you're talking about yourself or maybe walking through the hospital, you would like to use this video, the front facing, so you can see yourself a lot better. Make certain there are no distracting objects in the scene, unless doing it on purpose. So as you can tell, there is a little photo right here. It's just a thing. There's a couple lights up here, and there's wrong arm. There's a little cubby cabinet right back here. Not a lot of distracting stuff in my scene. You can see my microphone, and that's a little distracting, but there's not a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes I have plants in the background, sometimes I have other stuff, but I do it very purposefully if I have something in the background. I don't try to mess with people. I don't try to make it informal in that sense. I don't usually use props. But if you have something weird in the background, people are going to look at that and not at you. And you want people looking at you while you're filming your video. Highlight the object of focus. If it's you, then make sure you're the person on camera. If your object of focus is a building, or it's multiple people, or it's a group of people, or it's the other person, then make that the object of focus. Even if it's a panning shot of a camera with music or you talking over it, that's better than you just sitting here going like this. Like if you are talking about something, show photos, keep people's interest. And we'll talk about that a little bit too. For all of you staff and faculty on here, when you start a meeting on Skype or Zoom, make sure that you consider what you look like on camera before you jump into that meeting. And I did not mean to exclude students. Students, when you are in a meeting as well, do the same thing. Simply because you may not want to be on camera doesn't mean your camera isn't on. What I mean by that, Zoom specifically, it is a group meeting area, and the default setting for Zoom is that your camera is on. So it just does it, and most people don't change that. So you will be on camera whether you want to or not. Your laptop camera is your default, and most people's laptop is pointed upward in an angle resulting in what I call Blair Witch view, which is this. If you've been in a meeting before, you've probably seen people with this view on their laptop. Maybe they don't know they're on camera or not, but that's usually what they look like. It's kind of straight up the nose. So make sure you test that. And let me show you how to test that. You can go to places called webcamtests.com or testmycam.net, which is probably the safer one. And you can look at your webcam before you go anywhere. I don't do that one very often. I did it today. Next, you can check your microphone volume. I'm not going to go through this too much, but the instructions are on here for how to check your microphone volume. You can listen to the device. As you can see, there's a little, well, maybe you can't see in the photo, but there's a little option. You can deactivate your microphone. You can activate it. You can adjust your background noise. When you go to levels, you'll adjust your background noise. And I always make these things a habit before I go to any meeting.